Hello, my name is Caitlin. My presentation is on eugenics. Eugenics, new technology, new DNA. I'd like to start first by asking you a question. Is the advancement of medical technology a risk we are willing to take to break away from our ethical views of the creation of life? Throughout this PowerPoint, I'd like you to think about the advantages and disadvantages of the eugenics program, as well as the ethical views and morals led behind it. First, we must start off with what eugenics is. There's a particular science formed around eugenics, and it is called pre-implantation genetic diagnosis. This is also known as the germline gene modification. It is a process in which X-linked chromosomes are removed from the DNA structure to eliminate a certain trait or disorder. This modification to the DNA structure is often done during the embryo stage. Before a designer baby, this process is done with the egg and the sperm cells before the baby is created. Let me first start off with telling you the purpose of eugenics and why it is a technology that is being advanced every day. With eugenics, chromosomes can be removed to eliminate congenital diseases from transferring to the offspring. Eugenics can also allow the DNA to be changed and/or improved to things such as athletic ability and brain power. Eugenics allows for the change of the sex of the offspring before the baby is born. Eugenics also allows the characteristic traits of an offspring to be changed before the baby is born. Oddly enough, Hitler is not the only person who has revolved his life around the ideal of eugenics. Eugenics was first developed in California. The idea was to eliminate all unfit humans. California, like many states, began sterilizing humans deemed unfit. There were up to 9,782 humans that were sterilized based off of their bad characteristics. This was done because it was believed in science that human qualities and conditions, such as talent and poverty, were passed through blood. Looking at the image, you will see that there are lines through the states. These states have sterilization laws enact. The states that are white have laws against sterilization to humans. The black states are represented when there are laws being passed currently but are not passed yet. These numbers are from 1935, January 1st. As you can see, California still holds the largest number of sterilized humans with almost 10,000 people sterilized. When we think of unfit humans and the elimination of them, we often think back to the Holocaust. This is when Adolf Hitler exterminated hundreds and thousands of people because they were deemed unfit. Hitler had a master race in his eyes. The perfect human was blue-eyed, blonde-haired, strong, and preferably male. In order to create this perfect race, Hitler created one of the worst genocides in history. Up until 1934, over 5,000 people a month were being taken and sterilized against their will because they were deemed unfit and their bloodlines had to be destroyed. It wasn't until a few years later, in 1940, when over 50,000 people were killed. They were killed from old age homes and mental institutions. These groups of people were deemed unfit to even live. There are 3 ethical positions I will be discussing today in my presentation. The first one is inherited conditions. The overall goal for this, when it comes to eugenics, is to prevent inherited conditions, anything that is passed through genetics. Although this may save lives and this may prevent further illness, this is an interference with a human life. Our next ethical standpoint is donor babies. These are referred to as designer babies. These babies are born and created so that they can supply organs, tissue, blood, anything to another person, and they take the chromosomes and they link them up with the chromosomes of the ill. When it comes to donor babies, the dignity is undermined and natural selection is out of the question. This also allows for a human being to be a piece of waste as soon as the organs are transferred. Adam Nash was the first ever designer baby. His purpose was to be a donor baby to his sister. His sister suffered a rare genetic disorder. Very shortly after Adam Nash was born, his blood was used for his sister, and his sister fully recovered from her genetic disorder. This is the last ethical standpoint. This standpoint bases off of non-medical reasons, such as sex selection. This is where parents can choose the sex of their child before the child is born. This is done through designing their baby. This is a non-medical reason and is only used for characteristic traits as well as appeal. This is Table 2 in one of my sources. This is the verdict. A jury was sent together to discuss the ethical issues in eugenics. It is listed 1 through 12, all sorts of terms pertaining to eugenics. The first set of numbers is the jury who agreed. The second set of numbers is the jury who disagreed with the statement. And the last set of numbers were the jury who did not know anything about the eugenics standpoint. There was a majority of the vote that the jury agreed on almost every single one of the conditions. Now it is up to you to decide whether eugenics should be legal or illegal. Thinking back to all the times through the Holocaust, through the Nazi invasion, we need to think about what could happen with this technology, the advantages and the disadvantages. Going back to our question, after we've reviewed all of this information, I will ask you again, is the advancement of medical technology a risk we are willing to take to break away from our ethical views of the creation of life? Now, in your head, answer me. Is what we're doing with this technology ethical? Does it matter whether or not we have the advancements or the disadvantages? We need to realize what is ethical and what is not ethical, and that there is a natural selection in life. Thank you for your time.